Hi everybody, my name's Jeannie. Welcome to Mimicraft, your home for all things creative and DIY on a budget. I make all the mistakes, so you don't have to. Today we'll be making some tiered tray decor using tumbling tower blocks and other Dollar Tree items. But first, I want to show you what I did with last week's project. It'll be quick, I promise. I'll leave a link to that video above and at the end of the video. It's episode number 14. I decided to paint the tiered tray plaster, an off-white color by Waverly, and the more I painted it, the more I hated it. I realized it was because I didn't like the spaces between the blocks. So, enter Dollar Tree's lightweight spackling paste. I put it everywhere. For the really tiny spaces, I added just a little bit of water to the spackle and used a small paintbrush. And this is what it looks like in white. Project number 1 is a cross. You'll need 3 tumbling tower blocks that are the same size, 2 popsicles / craft sticks, wood glue, and the paint color of your choice. Place 2 of the blocks in a letter T and mark where shown. This is going to be a cutting line. Cut the block as straight as possible. I prefer this mini miter saw because it gives me such a clean cut. Miter shears make marks and don't always cut as straight as I like. This small piece will be the top of your cross. Glue the vertical pieces onto the horizontal piece. Next is a hack for cleaning up glue in small spaces. Take a toothpick and wrap just a tiny bit of cotton ball around the end of it. Then you can place it in a little bit of water and clean up those little spots. These are the approximate measurements of the cross I made, 3 inches tall by 1 7/8 wide. You're going to want to know this because we're going to be placing another cross on top of it. I chose Waverly chalk paint in the color Mineral to paint the cross. We'll be using split popsicle sticks to make a cross to sit on top. Use a sharp craft knife or utility knife to split your popsicle stick in half. Cut off the rounded edges. Measure and cut one of these half pieces to be a 1/2 inch less than the length of the center of your cross. In my case, it was 2.5 inches. For the horizontal measurement, trace your cross onto a piece of paper so you don't mess it up. Center the first piece of popsicle stick that you cut. Mark where its right side hits the paper. Next, measure 1/4 inch from the end of your cross. This length between the first and second markings will be the length of the piece that you need for the horizontal part of the cross. Cut 2 of those and sand them thoroughly. Put another popsicle stick. This will be used as a decorative frame for the outside of the cross. Cut and dry fit each piece before gluing it on, as we'll be painting them. Make sure you keep your pieces in order. These pieces with scissors makes them rough, so I painted all of the decorative pieces with Waverly's plaster. The side pieces get glued on like this. And the top pieces get glued on like this. Now clean off your extra glue or I won't sit with you in the cafeteria at the cool kids table. And this is how mine turned out. Project number 2 is a mini garland. You'll need 5 wood cutouts, beads, and string or embroidery floss. Put your wood cutouts together in a stacked form. I chose these hearts because I had them in my stash. I bought them at Dollar Tree during Valentine's season. You'll probably need to sand the edges because they're not perfectly the same size. Mark where you want to put your hole and use a drill to drill it. Not that kind of drill, people. Work with me! I wrapped a piece of sandpaper around a toothpick so that I could sand out the hole because, well, you know, I am who I am. Here we are with the plaster again. And the mineral too, but this time we're going to use it to distress or highlight, whichever you'd like to call it. Get a real dry brush and just put on as much as you like. If you get too much on, use a baby wipe or a damp cloth to wipe it back and start over again. These are the size beads I chose for my project. I actually used 6 of the little ones, not 5. The big guys got mineral and the little guys got plastered. I used matte Mod Podge to seal everything before I put it together. And no, it's not Mod Podge. And if I hear one more creator say that, I'm going to reach through the screen and pinch them. I used embroidery floss for this part because jute twine was too big for the holes in the beads I had. Put a little bit of hot glue on the end to keep it from fraying. Ow, ow. A little more. Ow, 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 ow. String your beads in the order you like them. Tie one end with a double knot onto your wood piece and fumble as much as possible. And cut off the excess. Next we're going to make a tassel. I sure hope you left yourself enough string to do this. First thing I did was wrap this around, this is 3 blocks I glued together to make the tassel. I don't know how many times I wrapped it. You can slow it down and count if you like. See, there's my extra bit that I left on the end, and I'm gonna tie that right in the middle of those strings that I just wrapped. I'll do a double knot, slightly more coordinated this time. To make the neck of the tassel, I just left one loose end and wrapped it around until I liked how it looked. And then just cut off the other end. No glue or anything. What I did is I took this little gadget and I just pushed those loose ends underneath all those threads I wrapped. And then gave it a haircut. Then went to a better salon to fix the haircut. If your threads still have any bends in them, you can just use a little bit of water to straighten them out and then let them air dry. Or blow dry them, I guess. And this is how she turned out. Kinda wish I made the garland longer, but I do really like this. Our next project is a mini wood flower box. You'll need 4 tumbling tower blocks the same size, small laser cut wood flowers, 6 of them. I got mine at Hobby Lobby or Dollar Tree, I think. A wood skewer, wood glue and hot glue, and a popsicle stick, not shown, and floral moss and a small piece of foam board. Glue 2 sets of 2 tumbling tower blocks end to end. Measure and cut 4 1-inch pieces of popsicle stick. The popsicle sticks cut with scissors much more cleanly if you score them first. Glue the popsicle sticks to the blocks as seen on screen. It'll look like this. Now, glue on 2 more. Yay! Now it's too tall. So when it's dry, just trim off the excess, and I do recommend sanding the bejeebers out of this when you're done. Trace the inside of your flower box onto a piece of foam board. You're going to want to cut 2 of those. Glue one on top of the other, paper side to paper side. Now for the flowers. Cut 3 lengths of skewer. I chose 2.5, 2, and 1.5 inches. Choose doubles of 3 flowers and glue them as seen on screen. Mark on your foam board where you want your flowers to sit, and then use the pointed end of a skewer to poke holes that they can sit in. The foam board should be glued inside the box. Obviously, somehow I missed that footage. But here we go with the plaster paint. Now change your mind and paint the stems mineral. Stress out your box. Now paint the flowers that you should have painted before you glued all this stuff together. Am I seriously painting a flower green? Time to podge it, folks. Now plant your flowers with hot glue. Cram in some moss. I didn't even bother to glue it. And this is how my flower box turned out. Now for project number 4. Now that I have your undivided attention, please take a second to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment if you like my provocative content. Now where was I? Oh yeah, project number 4. We're going to be making a miniature ladder. For this you're going to need 4 tumbling tower blocks, and you're going to need 5 1.5-inch pieces of either dowel. I used a 3/16 size, or you could also use skewers. Glue 2 sets of 2 tumbling tower blocks end to end. Measure and cut 5 1.5-inch pieces of dowel or skewer. Use wood filler to fill in the joints of the blocks and then sand thoroughly. I wish I'd done this on the flower box. Make 5 evenly spaced marks on each of the 2 block sets. This is where the rungs of the ladder are going to go. Place a glue dot on each one of the markings on one of your 2 block sets. Place 1 rung on each one of these dots, keeping them as straight as possible. I used 2 straight edges to get them even in this dimension. Place a drop of glue on each one of the rungs, turn it over and place it on the dots on the other side. It'll look something like this. And this shot, your girl is holding both the camera and the ladder with her left hand. You are welcome. I think you know the drill. Really? Oh, come on! And this is how mine turned out after I painted it, but hang in there because we're not done yet. Now, let's make a mini wreath to hang on our mini ladder. You'll need some floral wire, I got this at Dollar Tree, and 14 8mm beads, which I purchased at Michael's. Cut the wire to maybe 9 inches or so to give yourself plenty to work with. Make a little loop at the bottom of the wire so the beads don't fall off. Guess how I figured that out? Put on all 14 beads. Snug the beads as close together as possible and make a circle. Twist the wire until you have about an inch long tail. And maybe don't do it with gloves on. I used some Waverly Antique Wax to give the beads a look like wood stain. I decorated the wreath with baby's breath from Walmart and tiny flowers from Hobby Lobby. Here I'm cutting all the little flowers off and placing them where I think I want them to go. Hot glue is definitely the way to go here. When I was done with that, I bent that little wire on top to make a hook so it could go on the ladder. Isn't it sweet? I think miniatures are my very favorite things to craft. Project number 5 is a mini picture frame. You'll need 4 tumbling tower blocks the same size, 4 toothpicks, and a small wood cutout or a tiny picture or scrapbook paper, whatever teensy thing you want to put in there.
And you can do whatever you want there.
Glue the blocks skinny side up into a rectangle. Now make it pretty with wood filler. You know never mind. Measure and cut the toothpicks to fit in the center of each side. The scissors tend to make the ends ragged, so I recommend sanding them flat. Now glue her up. This little bottle is called the needle tip applicator. I bought mine at Hobby Lobby, but they're also available on Amazon and Temu. You could also use a fine paintbrush or toothpick to apply the glue. painted my little flower a pale peach. To hang the flower in the frame, I used thread and hot glue. I threaded one end through one of the petals and gave it a double knot. Trim the excess thread. Cut the remaining thread to the length I wanted. I used a drop of glue to put the thread in to suspend it from the middle of the frame. I ended up needing to trim off a little bit more. And this is my result. The flower's in front of a window and it's a little bit windy, so it's swaying back and forth. And here's the lineup. And this is how they look in the tiered tray. It's looking a little bit sparse, but we should be able to fill that in with next week's video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments section which project was your favorite, any questions you have about the projects, or what you'd like to see me make in the future. Part 2 coming next Sunday. Till then, bye!